Hi folks, my name is Peter. I'm in Nova Scotia and I have my own knife sharpening business, and this video is not about trying to sell you anything. I get no financial gain from what I'm about to teach you or try to teach you. This video is designed for folks who just want to learn how to sharpen a knife, maybe never even try to sharpen a knife but are interested. We're all get interested at some point. We get the calling to learn how to sharpen a knife, and there's 10, you've probably watched 10 videos by now on this subject, and I'm not suggesting any of those are bad, good, but I'm just trying to keep everything simple. So you're gonna watch one more, maybe, and that'll be it. So at some point in time, stop watching the videos, because I've been there, watch everything, and then you've just got to get to practicing. Also, don't let videos like you see about people cutting a tomato without touching the tomato. Just ignore all that. It's all cool. It's a rite of passage for a sharpener, but that comes way down it could be years down the road. Right now, my goal is to keep it simple, enforce the fundamentals, and reinforce just how simple this can be. Okay, so what is knife? Okay, and I'm going to give you a quick demonstration after this on two stones, a coarse stone and a medium stone. So what is knife sharp? Why? What does it mean? And why does a knife get dull? So a knife is dull because the primary edge, the microscopically thin line running from tip to heel, the metal along that edge fails. It just gets tired and it wears out and it moves over to the side. So instead of looking like a knife like this, you have this. You can't see it or probably feel it, but that's what's making your knife dull. The metal has failed and it's just moved over the side. And it doesn't matter how much you've paid for a knife, it's still gonna happen. It's natural. So our job as a sharpener is to reestablish the edge, make a new edge. And how do we do that? We do that by removing metal at a controlled manner. And I repeat, that's what sharpening is all about. It's a removal of metal in a controlled manner. By controlled, I mean, we don't want to be ripping metal off, because the steel, we don't need to. Every time we sharpen a knife, we're removing a little bit of metal. So that level of control comes with experience down the road. But don't worry, you're not going to ruin a knife. And ignore the folks who tell you to start practicing with it cheap. Go out and buy the cheapest knife you can buy. Please just ignore that. It's garbage, because those knives, the steel in those knives, are full of impurities. It's just cheap steel and will wreck your confidence. Okay, because that steel is very abrasive, very resistant to these abrasives. The water stones that we're going to be using, wet stones, WHET, are abrasives. Okay, so without any further chatting, I'm just going to give you a demonstration of how I sharpen a knife, and it's not a strange technique. It's very common and it's easy to follow. It's just about watching what I do and practice. Okay, that's the last you'll see of me. Now I'll get down to the business. Okay, we're going to start off with a knife. I'm going to use two stones, a coarse stone, 320 grit. Do not be afraid to start with a coarse stone. Every time I sharpen a knife, regardless of the level of sharpness that the knife has, I'll start with a coarse stone. It's all about pressure. I'm going to teach you a lot about pressure. Then I'm going to finish off with a 1,000 grit stone. Okay? Believe me, don't forget, I'm not getting any money from companies, from stones, stuff like that. They're not watching this video. I'm going to start firing money. It doesn't happen. It's not happening. So I'm going to get a little bit of water, and we're going to keep this wet stone wet, lubricated with water. So what are we going to do? I want you to think of this stone as an abrasive, of course, and we are going to be pushing the knife down the length of this stone using what's called trailing strokes. But that's not important. All it means is that I'm applying a pressure in one direction only. So, and my goal is to force that metal that's fatigued and rolled over and now is on this side down to the other side. So think of an avalanche of steel coming down the side of this knife, and it's created, and that avalanche is created by the power of this stone and the pressure that I'm applying with these two fingers. Okay, these are my pressure fingers. This knife, this hand is just pushing the knife back and forth, okay? So I'm going to start at the tip of the knife. This is my pattern. Create a pattern. And because the tip of a knife needs a little bit of extra attention, and I won't get too much into that, I want you to raise your, so normally, right now, your elbows are just lying naturally at their side. Raise them, raise your elbow a little tiny bit. That will raise the angle at the tip. Now, angles. Don't sweat angles. All knives are sharpened between 10 and 20 degrees. Okay, kitchen knives that is. So how do you find a good knife to learn on? A new angle. What angle should we use? Here's an easy way. Okay, don't worry about different angles for different knives or anything like that. Learn one angle for now. You need to learn muscle memory. Doesn't matter what else other angles you want to use. You won't be able to hold them. So your goal now is to find one angle and own that angle. Own the space between the spine of the knife and the stone. There's your angle. So what angles do I use? If you put your pinky, lay the knife flat down on the stone. Put your pinky, the tip of your pinky, in between the heel of the knife and the surface of the stone. That's going to give you about a 16, 17 degree angle. If you want it higher, you go in there. But that's a quick way to do it. Now you have a visual clue of what that angle should look like. Okay? I've sharpened thousands of knives at this angle, folks. Don't worry about it. It's a good angle. So now I've got that angle. My goal is to maintain that angle. Okay? Easier said than done, but it can be done. Now, on my tip, elbows up a little bit at the tip, and I'm applying pressure. We'll call it heavy pressure, heavy to moderate pressure on the first knife. I've already established that the knife is very dull. I've had a look at it. I've made sure there's no dings or it's bent or anything like that. So I'm ready to sharpen now. And I've determined that it's pretty dull, so I'm going to have to use a little more pressure to get the ball rolling. What's my goal? My goal, again, is to force the metal from this side over to this side. It doesn't fall off. It just flips over the other side. And then you can feel it. It's called a burr. That's what our goal is. My goal is to create a burr on the opposite side from what I'm sharpening. In other words, it's going to form on here, not here. So pressure, elbow up, push the knife, hold using heavy pressure as I move it away from me. I release the pressure. Go up and down about 2 or 3 times. I'm not counting strokes, but I've established a rhythm. Now, I've done the tip. Now I can move my fingers because we're doing this knife in section. That's how we can manipulate pressure, by doing the knife in sections. And the pressure and the sharpening is taking place below these fingers. So pressure, no pressure. Pressure, no pressure. Pressure, no pressure. Fingers go back down. Next section. Elbows up. Go. Okay. Went from tip to heel, heel to tip. Now, how do I know when to stop doing that? It's when I form the burr on this side. So the burr is metal that I've forced over this side, and you can feel it. Hold the knife like this, run your finger over it, never like this, but just across like this, and you're feeling for a resistance, some rough spot. So I've got that. That means I've moved the metal from this side over to this side that I want to go. Now I have to do the other side. I have to form 2 burrs, 1 on each side, okay, to start, initial burrs. So now, if you can only sharpen with one hand, or if you can sharpen with 2, you're going to go like this. Let's just say you can only sharpen with one hand. Now I'm going to start at the heel of the knife with the blade perpendicular to the stone. I find my angle. I apply pressure as close to the edge as possible. My fingertips are as close to this edge as possible. Pressure, no pressure. Pressure, no pressure. Pressure, no pressure. Now that I've got the heel area, I'll adjust my angle up till it's about 45 degrees this way. My sharpening angle is still 16, 17. My pinky angle. Pressure, elbow up, down. Okay, so now I'm going to feel for a burr on this side. I can feel a burr from tip to heel, a nice subtle burr from all the way from tip to the heel. That's your goal. Attain that burr and keep doing this until you can feel it on either side. I'm going to repeat my actions on either side. What I do on one side of this double bevel knife, I'm going to do on the other side. So now I've formed the burr. Now what do? You have to remove it. Your goal as a sharpener is to give the knife back or start using a knife with absolutely zero burr and an edge as clean as possible. By clean, I mean no metal that we can detect at all hanging off. This metal likes to cling to the mothership and it's hard to get rid of. So how do we get rid of it? By manipulating pressure, by using pressure to shave it off. Shave it off basically. So I'm going to repeat my motions, but now I've reduced my pressure by 50%, okay? So instead of pressing down, now it's much lighter pressure because I'm only shaving that burr off. And it's going to repeat the process now. I'm really focused on maintaining that angle. Elbow up. Now I'm going to flip to the other side, find my angle, and remember, 50% reduction in pressure. Now, another reduction in pressure. I'm going to use 4 levels, okay? Heavy, moderate. This is now very light, nothing at all. I'm cleaning that edge. If I use too much pressure, I'd just be creating burrs again. Final level of pressure. Angle, and just like this. No pressure at all. 3 times on either side. Okay, so now you have a sharp knife. It's inevitable. It will be sharp, okay? So now I've moved to a 1000 grit stone, a finer stone. I'm going to finish the knife on this. The stones are creating parallel scratches in the bevels of this knife. More coarse stones create deeper scratches. As we move into finer stones, it reduces the depth of those scratches. So that's what's happening that we can't see, but that's what's happening to these bevels. So now it's the same process, folks. 4 levels of pressure, and I'll do it quickly here. I won't talk. Lighter pressure. Even lighter now. So you're done. You can have a look at the edge. Okay, have a look for, and it will be sharp. Okay, you can always test your knives on thin paper, your arm hair, like I always do, or something, and and you can get that. You'll get a sense of how you're doing. Okay, so that's all there is to it, folks. Just take your time, focus, and manage your expectations. It might take you a while to achieve what you think is sharp, but it will come if you just keep practicing. Okay? Thank you very much. Appreciate it.